but I'm going to give you one other example. I read about this last year, and I think you'll find it very moving. The Los Angeles Dodgers, right, Major League Baseball team. They had a player a few years ago who had an injury.
Okay.
And he wasn't able to play the whole season, but they paid him as per his contract. And the next season, he wasn't able to come back, so he was off on disability, and so they didn't see and keep in touch with him the whole time. And then he started having some mental health issues, and then they lost track of him. Anyways, they subsequently found him homeless behind a building, I think at the airport in Florida. So he hasn't been an active employee, even though he was an athlete, for some time. How do you think that organization reacted to that situation? What they did is they put him back on their health benefits plan to make sure he could get the professional help he needed, get the medicines that he needed, that he wouldn't have to worry about anything while he healed psychologically, emotionally, and physically. Why do I share that? Because when you go to their website, they say, we're an environment that takes care of our people. That's what taking care of our people looks like. That if somebody loses their way, even a famous athlete who's paid a lot of money and gets diagnosed with a mental health disorder and becomes homeless, we're going to pull them out and we're going to help them. I think that's unbelievable. That's what I'm talking about. When a culture is embedded, the values come to life. Same with your hotel. Nowhere was it written, if anything ever happens in this hotel, we expect you to come running into a burning building and save your colleagues. But they did it because they cared. They were loyal. They were dedicated. And why were they that way? Because they were treated that way. It's often not more complex than the way we treat people. That's what you have to think. Again, there's lots of papers and lots of very smart people and academics. I think culture is not that complex. Having said that, it does require intent. You do have to be intentional about it and deliberate. And if you're an entrepreneur, like when we started the conversation, that's even more difficult because you're running around trying to set your organization up and trying to get your first sale, maybe pay your bills, do some promotion, do business development, do invoicing, you're doing everything. And while you're bringing people on as your business grows, you've got to be very intentional about the culture you want to create. It can't just happen, or else it's going to happen and it'll form, but not necessarily in a way that you want it to or that will benefit the growing organization.
I'd say an employee would not even go to a burning hotel even if you pay him $1 million.
Right. So what motivated them to do that? It was just instinctual, to your point. They didn't think twice about it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about people who are earning high salaries.
Right.
Or they were not millionaires or something.
Right. They weren't the executives.
No.
Right.
They were on blue collar jobs.
Right.
Many were on blue collar jobs.
Yes.
And they joined in not even a month prior to the attack.
They were living the values of that organization. They were giving back to the organization had given to them. You know, culture is much more than words on a page. You know, if you go into many organizations, you go into their lobbies, you know, this is our vision, this is our mission, this is our culture, these are our values. That's great, and there's some importance to keeping those front and center. But it's much more about what you described. What happens when things get tough? How do people behave then? It requires an emotional connection between an employee and the organization. That's what culture is about. It's not about it's a job, I'm going to come to work. It's I want to join Nitin as he grows the Mug Talks empire because of the way he treats me. Not only do I think he's got a great idea and I think it's going to be successful and I want to be part of it, so there's obviously we look after ourselves, but also because I like how I feel when I go into work. I'm inspired, I'm motivated, I have an emotional connection. And that's what companies struggle with. Big companies, particularly when you've got hundreds of thousands of people, and when you're an entrepreneur. And so that's also why, again, when I say they're all connected, that I focus on leadership in my company. Because leaders are the people that have the most ability to impact the biggest number of people. The people at the top of an organization is 10 people, 8 people, maybe. But if you've got 100,000 people, those 8 people are not touching those 100,000 employees. All the levels of below them who have bigger scopes of people have the ability to impact them. And to create that experience where people will run into a building.